And we are recording. Welcome everybody to day 3 of Wake Your Moneymaker. And before we get started with all the nitty-gritty stuff, I'm going to lead you guys through a little bit of a meditation. So we're going to do our alpha breath. We're going to go to alpha level. And then we're going to go through this beautiful meditation. So you can just get comfortable, kind of wiggle your body just to get in tune with your body. We're going to say thank you, body, with an exhale. And then I want you to breathe in and pull in all of the energy and love and contribution from the room you're in into your body, and exhale, thinking of 3, 3, 3. Inhale, pulling everything that's of contribution to you, which is everything from the earth. Exhaling, thinking of 2, 2, 2. Next inhale, you're pulling in everything from the very universe herself. Everything that's in contribution to you, all the love and support, every little bit of stardust. And as you exhale, you're thinking of 1, 1, 1. Appreciating, acknowledging, and setting intention that you are at alpha level. Your brainwave is at alpha. You're honoring your body, your mind, your emotions, and your energy. And I want you to think of a beautiful store. In this magical, beautiful store, it can look any way you'd like it to look. But in this store, you can get anything, absolutely anything that you desire. This can be the store or warehouse, if you will, where you order your best day, your best month, your most desired reality. And walking into the store, you see little bits and baubles. You see furniture, electronics. There's even a location where you can order your dream car. You can order your dream home. You can order your dream relationship. And you can also order a specific table. This can be your Knights of the Round Table, if you will. And you're going to pick out your preferred table. What does it look like? How big is it? And this table has a specific purpose, just like this whiteboard, this imaginary, powerful whiteboard that you use in the theater of your mind. This table will house a collection of experts that you will appoint to meet with you and discuss with you any and all desires, challenges, any hiccups along the path. You can check in with these experts, and they can be absolutely anyone from across all time, space, dimension. You can choose whoever you would like to sit at this table with you. So in this store, looking at this table, you're going to tell the clerk, this one, This is what I want. So that is ordered. I want you to take a look now around this store where you can order anything you want. And I want you to take a minute and compile a list. If there's no money involved, there's no money necessary here. You get to have, do anything you desire. So money is off the table. Money is no object. So take a little bit of time right now and feel into what you really want. Now choose one of the things that you decided that you desire. Choose one of those things. And I want you to feel into your body as you accept this thing into your reality. Feel into your root chakra. Does that feel comfortable? Is that allowed? Is it safe? So you're working at the base of your spine, and we're working all the way up. The root chakra is just below your tailbone. Next, you're going to feel into your sacral, which is just below your belly button. Feel into your sacral and pull this desire in. Is that safe? Is that allowed? Is that okay for you to have, do, be that? And now, just below your diaphragm is your solar plexus. Pulling this desire in. Is that allowed? Is that okay to have? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel discomfortable? How does that feel? Working up to your heart chakra, which is just beside your physical heart, in the middle of your sternum. Pulling this desire in. Does that feel comfortable? Is it allowed? Next is your throat chakra, right around your Adam's apple. Pulling that desire in. Is there any resistance? Is it safe? Is it allowed to come right in? Next is your third eye, your brow chakra. Right above, in the middle of your forehead, above your eyebrow line. Pulling that desire in. Does that feel safe and comfortable? Is that allowed? Does it feel like there could be any repercussion of you accepting, receiving, creating, having, and being what you desire? And next is your crown chakra, right at the top of your head. Pulling this desire in. Is it safe? Are you allowed to have this? Does it feel like you can have, do, be, create, receive, accept this thing you desire? feeling into your body to see where you're most aligned with this thing, this desire. Where does it feel most comfortable? Where does it feel the least comfortable? And breathing into, if there is any area where it's the least comfortable, pulling air, energy, breath into that specific area and asking, is there a benefit to that resistance? And is it okay if we choose something different now? Is it okay if we release any resistance that's not ours? Any rules, boundaries, limitations, expectations, conclusions, any separations, any judgments that may not be yours? Is it okay if we just release that now? Is that okay? Is there more of a benefit to accepting, receiving, creating what you desire right now? And we're talking about this one thing that you desire, this one thing that you want to create and accept, receive, and manifest in your life right now. Thinking about that one thing, can you see it in your reality? And I want you to imagine a very short loop. You're going to create an anchor statement and an anchor vision of this one thing that you desire being in your life right now. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to think of your closest person, someone you love, someone who loves you, and you're on the phone with this person, or you're sitting in a cafe, if you're allowed to sit in a cafe with people where you are. And this person says to you, your person says, I can't believe you manifested your desire. Your person says to you exactly what you manifest. I can't believe it. I'm so excited for you. And then you say to your person, I know, I'm so excited that I manifested this thing that you want to manifest. So you now have two anchor visions or anchor statements. One is imagining seeing this desire in your life right now. This is a loop that you can play with, daydream, feed energy to. The next loop is sitting with your person or being on the phone with your person, and your person saying to you, congratulations, I'm so thrilled, I'm so happy that you now have blank, whatever your desire is. And your person will say it by name, will describe it, will describe how happy your person is for you, and you will say that as well. You'll repeat that. Short, sweet. and tapping on just around where your heart chakra is with 2 or 3 fingers. This is your thymus thumb. When you shift any energy like we've done, this anchors in the energy. And you can come back and let me know how you did. How was your store?
That was amazing. It was a bookstore.
Oh.
And it had a spiral staircase going all the way up. And then, like you're dreaming, it turned into this other store with all these shelves that I could take anything off, like a boat and a house. And yeah, that was amazing. How about you, Jenny?
Mine was really cool too. It was just like a kind of like a tinker shop with lights and books and just little gadgets. And then there was little computers where it would say, you can order this and you can order this. And I would go to it and it'd be like, ding, ordered. Like it was, and it was really pretty. Like it was almost like a bookstore too, but different gadgets and stuff in it.
Beautiful. I love it. Mary, that reminded me of, did you guys see like Ant-Man, the movie? So he had this case, right, of the what are they, the little tiny cars, and then he had a case of the end scene of, I think it was Ant-Man and Wasp, I can't remember. Sorry, buddy, I'm gonna put you down. They had this little tiny miniature Victorian house that they found a perfect spot for, and then they, did the remote and it went into life size.
Oh, cool. Cool. I am off. Okay. Yep. I did see that. I saw this house with the big front porch and the pillars, and it was really cool. Yeah. Yeah, yes. It was really cool. That was lovely.
Yay. So you can obviously do that at any time. Whatever you desire, that can be your store of creation, your warehouse, if you will. Now, I asked you to imagine a table that you've now ordered, you've now created, that is yours. And this is your table of experts. This is your round table. And I can't remember who it was, if it was Neville Goddard. I can't remember who it was, but somebody did this exercise and they put people like Abe Lincoln and I can't remember who else he had. Like, you can put Mother Teresa at this table. You can fill this table with experts, whoever you want at this table. Now, I'm not sure if it was Neville Goddard, but what he did was he would sit down if he had a challenge, and he would sit down at this table, and just like your whiteboard, your theater of your mind, you're imagining these people sitting around with you, and you have this discussion with them. You say, okay, this is what I want to create and I don't know how, or this is what I want to do or have be, and I'm stuck here. What should I do? And you really present your dilemma, and you sit and listen for advice from these people at this table. It can be Oprah, it can be Ellen, it can be Einstein, it can be whoever, Tony Robbins. And it's really interesting. So I'm not sure if it was Neville, but this person kept saying, when he did this on a regular basis and created this table and sat down and had these discussions, these people started acting like their actual human physical selves. So Abe Lincoln would get up in the middle of a conversation and start pacing the room with his hands behind his back, like, you know, a very presidential, important political person, right? Pacing and marching, and that's what he would do. So learning about, you know, he didn't know that Abe did that, but Abe would just take on these human characteristics. And then later he found out that Abe actually did that in meetings. He would pace. I'm a pacer. When I think, I'm a pacer for sure. So it's interesting how these people that you bring to your circle of experts or your round table, whatever you want to call it, they will give you feedback. So your job is, and I heard this somewhere and it really resonated, praying is talking to God or the universe, and meditating is listening. So when you're at your round table or your table of experts, you can do your alpha breath to get to level, and you can call in these experts to come, and you can present what you desire and listen. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not great at listening. I'm not great. But with practice, this is an amazing activity. I do this sometimes. The other thing that I do is I call him Healer Dude. I guess I should maybe give him a name. I call him Healer Dude. And whenever I have a physical ailment that I can't fix as a Reiki master, I visit this Healer Dude. And he's in like Babylonian times. And I project myself there into this beautiful, huge room that looks like, you know, Babylonian. Like there's the arched, beautiful doorways that's open right to a veranda that overlooks something that kind of looks like Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Beautiful, beautiful hills and mountains and valleys, and it's gorgeous. But he's my healer dude. So whenever I have an issue, I go to him, and he has a massage table, and I sit down and I say, okay, I'd like you to work on this. And then he nods, and I lay down, and he heals, and then I'm out of there. I'm like, thanks, and I come back home. Now, the interesting thing is when I started going to this healer dude in my mind, I would think that if I had a problem if I carry stress I trap it in my trapezius. So oftentimes if I have a pain somewhere, like in my neck, I'll say, okay, I have a pain in my neck, can you fix that? He may go to my feet. So he started acting and healing in his own way, not from what my consciousness or subconsciousness would have done. So these beings that we call in to help, like our circle of experts or like healer dudes or who are angels, guides, we truly bring them into our lives, and they will take on personalities of their own. So don't be alarmed by that. It's a really magical thing that happens, and we get some amazing advice and help. So do you guys have any questions about that before we move on? The next thing is, when you walked into your store, your warehouse, and when I said money is not any part of this situation, how did that feel?
It didn't matter. I didn't need the money.
Yeah.
Because you said I didn't need the money.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Can you bring that into this dimension?
I would love to. I don't need the money to manifest what I want. I guess that's.
Because if money is energy, the money that we see in our reality is something that we created. Before that, it was something else. It was a barter system, right? If you wanted fabric that I had, you paid me a chicken or maybe some eggs, right? So money is something that we created. But if money is energy, and if energy is all there is, then it's really not anything to do with money. If we focus on the end result of what we want, and we see us having that, that's what we create. That's what we have, what we manifest. So just like me standing in this hallway, visualizing me being here, looking at the day timer, the calendar saying, okay, June 1st, I'm here. I did it. And I repeated that in a loop. And I know I can give you example after example after example. But do you have any examples of things that you've created, the thing, or money? I've created money as well. I said, hey, universe, I was going through a divorce. My husband and his girlfriend were suing me for everything. I had to get a job. I didn't even have a job. I was up, you know what, without a paddle, and I didn't know what to do. So I needed a lawyer. I need first and last for a new place to live. I needed heat hookup. I needed hydro hookup. I needed like $6,000, and I didn't have a job. So I said, hey, universe, I need $6,000. I don't even know how or what I should have, do, or be, but I need this, and I need this now. And within a week, I got a check from an old job I had from their pension. They were paying out everyone's pension who no longer worked for them. I no longer worked for them. They paid out the pension. It was $6,000. Yeah, so you can manifest money. You can manifest moving into a house even when somebody's living there at the time. I manifested, I was in Ireland. I had just gotten married, going over to England. My husband was in charge of pretty much just the car rental. We needed a car rental in Ireland. We needed a car rental in England. We couldn't drive the car from Ireland over into England. So that was his job. We got married. We stayed in a bed and breakfast. The next morning we were going to England, and he was having a meltdown because he just discovered that he didn't have an email saying, yes, you're confirmed with the car rental in England. So we didn't have a car. He's having a meltdown. And I said to him, it'll work out. It has to. And I have absolutely no idea why. I was so certain, but I was certain that it would work out. And we got there, and he kept calling the night before, and he kept calling and calling and calling, no answer. And I said, it'll work out. And he tried, I think the third or fourth call, once we got to the ferry terminal in Fishguard, Wales, and somebody picked up, and she said, well, I left my glasses at the office, and that's the only reason why I'm in here right now. We're closed today.
Oh my God.
But if you come right now, take a taxi, this is their address, so come right now, and I'll give you a car. Boom. Yeah. So we are powerful when we focus on and use directed awareness and directed intention and attention at what we want. And I've discovered that this is a loop. And that's, I think, where a lot of the manifesting teachers are, I don't want to say it, wrong seems harsh, but they're wrong. They tell you to think of one thing once, do it in a loop. So create that anchor statement or anchor vision of what you want, having what you want, and repeat it in a loop. And I've done this when I'm scared, when I'm frustrated, when I'm angry, when I'm depressed, when I'm sad, when I'm hopeful, when I'm courageous, when I feel grateful and in love with life. All the full range of emotions, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be in a high vibration to manifest. You're manifesting at all times. Jenny, how are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. It's something similar. I left my daughter's father back in 2016, and I was just going back to university, and I had nowhere to go. I knew that I had to leave, and I had no money. I was still in school. I had nothing for cruise around Christmas, no gifts for her, nothing. But I kept thinking like, it'll be fine. Things are going to work out. And this was my second degree I was working on. So I had a really good support system at the school. So I remember my counselor said, "Oh, we're closing for Christmas soon. Like, can you come in? Do you care if we give you a couple gifts for your daughter?" And I was like, well, I kind of do because of my pride level, but I said, okay, sure. And they said, okay, we'll be here at 12. We all leave like shortly after for Christmas. And I'm on my way there, and it's a snowstorm and my windshield wiper falls off. And I'm like, oh, gee. So I try and make it to Canadian Tire, and they happened to put a new one on. I said, oh, what's the bill? And they're like, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So I said, oh, and I called them. I said, I'm on my way. I'm a little bit late. I get there, and they gave me a slew of gifts for my daughter. And they even gave me a gift basket for myself, as well as one of the First Nations had an emergency fund. They gave me a check for $1,500, and I was just in tears. And I just knew I was grateful, but I just knew it would work out, and it did work out. And I was so upset that I was in this place, and my counselor had said, Jenny, look, one day you will be able to do this for someone else or other people, and just accept it. And we want to do this for you. And yeah, and it was just that inside knowing that I'm doing the right thing, leaving her dad. It was very unhealthy and scary, but I did it, and things just happened. And because I kept thinking like things will work out. It's okay.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh my gosh. So what I'm reading your message here, I have a hard time listening as one of my stronger gifts is claircognizance. Information is always flowing. Yeah. And I feel the need to share. So I guess listen to spirit, but others, it can be as hard as I feel I always need to be sharing what is coming through. Yeah. And I get that. I get that too. Yeah. It is hard. It is very hard. And I think, I don't know if that comes back to like Mary's talked about yesterday about if you take away you're going to think that I'm weird. If you take that away, does that make it better a little bit? Yeah. It's difficult. Yeah. And I think when I first started, I was showing up online, and people thought I was a nut job because I use a pendulum to muscle test with all these pendulum charts. And I wasn't thinking about, yeah, you guys think like that's cool, right? But I wasn't thinking about you guys. In my head, I was thinking about my parents and my family who aren't into this at all, not at all. And their friends. And that's who I was thinking about when I was going online. So I was resisting. I wanted this information to get out there, but at the same time, I'm like, you guys are going to think I'm a nut job. I did it scared, but when you just take out that weird, you're going to think that I'm weird thing, just disconnect from it and focus on the people who will get you and appreciate the information that you're passing on. Yeah, it's important. Do you have a story, Mary?
What you just said made me think of when we talked about the fear of success. And that's kind of that's that idea that, okay, if I'm successful, they're going to think I'm weird. And it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But I do have a story. I hope it's not too long. I did get divorced from my first husband. He was having an affair, and I, naive, didn't realize he was having an affair until her husband phoned and said, "Listen, they've been having an affair for 3 months. Do you want to get together and talk?" And I'm like, "No, no, I do not." Anyway, long story short, I moved in with my parents. I saved money to put a down payment on a house. There's no way there's no way in hell that I should have gotten a house because I had really no money. I saved a little bit for the down payment, bought a house on, I forget what you call it. I just took over his mortgage.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go and get approved for a mortgage. I just assumed his mortgage. That's what it was. I got approved for the mortgage. I assumed his mortgage. So it was his interest rate, his length of time for the rest of the mortgage and my amortization. And and it was all settled and everything. And there was no fence, and I had two small boys. So I said to the guy, to the real estate agent, I said, "Do you think that he could maybe take off $500 from the price of the house so that I can buy a fence, so I could put a fence in, because that's how much it was going to be?" And he went back to the guy and said, the guy says, "No problem, sure." So I ended up getting $500 off the mortgage so that I could build the fence to keep the kids safe. So I'm sure that was manifesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Didn't know that I could do that, but yeah.
Yeah. And that reminds me of a client that I have right now. She's leaving her house that she's in now, getting a house that, you know, she feels completely aligned with, but she wanted a fence, wanted a privacy fence. And 3 minutes after thinking about it and saying in her head, it'd be lovely to have a privacy fence, and repeating that in her head, 3 minutes of doing that, her new landlord phoned her and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm having a privacy fence put in." Like the stuff is amazing. So talking about, we're going to go into your preferred or primary manifesting style in a minute, but talking about our comfort level and our bandwidth of receiving. I think this is really important to talk about. So there is a ceiling of income that we're comfortable with receiving. And you can muscle test this. You can say, "I am comfortable with receiving $2,000 a month," and test that. I have a pendulum chart that is your preferred income or your income ceiling, and it will actually tell you. And that's really, you guys can create it on your own. Get a piece of paper. Start at an income that you know, I guess on the left, I don't know which is left for you guys. Start at an income on the left that you know you're comfortable with calling in, and go up in increments until you're at, you know, even 50,000 a month. Or if you're at 5 or 10K, start there and go up in 10K increments until you reach 100K months. And it may seem uncomfortable for you, but I have a client who does between 100,000 and 200,000 a month. It's possible. And if you keep reminding yourself, hey, she's doing it. Amanda Francis is another spiritual coach who teaches entrepreneurs about money mindset and manifesting. and business strategy, I believe. She makes, I think, I don't even know if it's 400,000 or 700,000 a month. So when you see other people out there doing it, even if there's one other person, right? There was somebody who did an amazing, ran like this marathon in a really, really short amount of time. And he said, I'm going to do it in this time. And everyone said, no, you can't. It's never been done before, so you can't do it. He did it. And after he did it, other people are now able to do it because one person did it. So if you can wrap your head around, your brain around, well, so-and-so's making 100K a month, why can't I? This is the bandwidth of our income. And it's rules, and it's other people's energy, and it's worth, it's the 7 keys. Do I believe I can do it? Am I confident that I can do it? Do I feel like I have enough value to do this? Is it safe? Or do I feel like I will be reprimanded or injured or killed for being that wealthy? Do I trust that I can do it? Or do I trust that I'll be backed by the universe? Do I deserve to have that? And will I allow myself to receive? So playing with, and I call this trying it on. And again, it's repetition. What does it look like to be creating 10K months? What does that look like? So Jenny says, I think when thinking about those things, I have to keep telling myself I'm worthy. That is the biggest key for me. Yeah. And worthiness was the biggest key for me. I do a lot of archetype work in my programs. And I was the orphan inner child. So between you're in your mother's womb for 9 months-ish. And the energy and her emotions, you are inside of that. My mother was alone. My father, her boyfriend was my father. He didn't want a kid. He didn't really want her. So she's going through all this turmoil. So me, as this beautiful little limitless being that's totally intuitive and empathic and possibly even a little bit, a touch of psychic, we're sucking all that up, right? That's not talked about enough. The womb time, there needs to be womb therapy. There are some healers that do that. It's very powerful. But then from 0 to 6 months, I was in 6 different caregivers before I was 6 months old. So what does that tell a 6-month-old baby? You're not worthy. So I had to do a lot of work on worthiness, so I get it. And the beautiful thing about these keys is, and merging the keys with the archetypes, you can tune into your inner child and work on the worthiness. And I use, is this a benefit? A lot. I ask that question a lot. Is there more benefit to feeling unworthy? Or is there more benefit to just dropping that and creating something different? And when we don't focus on the money, because a lot of, when you look at society, money and worth and status and value are all go together. That's a lie. Money is energy. And when we stop focusing on the money and we start focusing on having, doing, and being and creating, because we are creators. So when we focus on creating that final thing that we want, if we want the boat, if we want the $5 million house, if we want to own an island in the Bahamas, if we want a new car, if we want a thriving business, those are the things that we focus on. And that often we can wrap our worth around that. Because then we do away with the money and the status and the value. The perceived value of money is BS, because money is really energy. And it's really not the money that we want, it's the comfort. And so I watched this show on Netflix last night. It was called Sweet Magnolias. Yeah, I just started watching it. It's really cute. And I love Southern accents. I love the old plantation houses, and I love renovating. I can't wait to have a house that I can renovate. And they're renovating this beautiful big house into a spa. And the older lady that sold them the house had said to her husband, well, after you're gone, I'm going to sell the house. And he said, well, why? And she said, it's just going to be me in this big, huge house. It's just me. And he said, honey, it's never just you. You have your friends, you have your parties, you have your get-togethers, you have family. And I want a big, comfortable, beautiful home. I want a family. I want friends in my home. I want that atmosphere, which comes from I was in a caregiver's home, then given away, and then in another person's home, and then given away, right? And that's, I think, how they did it back then. I don't really know. Just so that the caregiver, the foster home, didn't get too attached to a 1-month-old baby, or I was between 3 and 6. I was in foster care, and then between 0 and 3, I was with my aunt, who wanted to keep me, but then my birth mother gave me up for adoption. So I think that's how they did it then, possibly. I'm not quite sure. But I felt unworthy. I felt like, well, it's just me. Why do I want this big, huge house? I want the big, huge house to fill with people that I love. I want to share that love. So when you want your desire, and when you feel like there's a little bit of a resistance when you're going towards your desire, if it's worthiness, if it's safety, if it's comfort, if it's belief, then go kind of the sideways, right? Instead of going at it head on, come at it from a different angle. And that different angle may be placing yourself in that thing. For me, it'd be a house. So placing myself, seeing myself on the front porch of the house with my tea in hand, looking at the beautiful scenery, with my friends around me. And that feeling of joy and comfort overcomes the feeling of, well, crap, am I worthy of this? And when you come from the place of comfort, we are here in this reality as a spiritual being, as an infinite being, to have this human experience. So the more comfort we have, is that wrong? It can never be wrong to want comfort. And if somebody wants comfort as in a 1-room bachelor apartment versus, a villa in Switzerland, versus a manor house in Charleston versus a castle in Ireland. Whatever your comfort level is okay. And if you come at it from that perspective of, you know what, I'd be really comfortable sitting in that porch or that Porsche or that Lamborghini or that boat or that beach house. What is comfort to you? I think Mary's typing. So let me know if you have any questions about that, and then we'll go on to the primary manifesting styles, which is the PMS. Goodness, I have a lot of these. My goodness. Weird. It's okay to want a small bungalow with a full porch and not a mansion. So which of the 7 keys is not aligned do you want a mansion?
No. No, I don't want a mansion.
What do you want?
I want a bungalow with a studio room that's well lit, beside some water. I don't need 4 levels. I want to be comfortable and not have to clean too much. That's so weird to think I don't need a mansion I don't need that status symbol.
Yeah. Oops.
To have well-being.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that someone else like yourself or Jenny that might want a big house that you can fill it with friends and family, but I think that the bungalow that I would have would be just as comfortable.
Yeah.
With all my friends and family. It would be big enough. It's going to be big enough to have all my friends and family, but not so big that it's considered a mansion. I guess that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And like we all want different things. That's what's beautiful. We'll never run out of, there's the common fear of, well, if I have that, I'm taking it away from somebody else. And that's nonsense because we all want different things. Yeah. So I do have a chart somewhere of our primary manifesting styles. So just like when you're in school and the teacher's talking to you and you're learning, you have a preferred or primary learning style. Whether it's reading or listening or doing or writing. And I've taken that idea and went, well, yeah, if we learn a certain way, then we create a certain way. And I know that if I've been in some situations where I was really sure that it was going to go south really darn quick. And I visualized in the really short loop again and again and again and again, visualized the outcome that I wanted, and that came to pass. And I talked about doing the energetic transference of healing burns and cuts and poison ivy. And that happens very, very quickly. And it's the visualizing this healthy area of tissue rather than the burn. And it's visualizing that for 20 seconds. I don't want the pain. I don't want the poverty. I don't want the huge bill looming over my head. I don't want the eviction notice. I don't want the fridge being bare. So you're focusing on, for 20 seconds, what you do want. I want a full fridge. I want clients ringing me up. I don't want to have to hustle. I don't want to work. I don't want to have to work hard. There was this, when I was learning healing, I learned therapeutic touch first before Reiki. And my therapeutic touch teacher taught us through Carolyn Myss books. And Carolyn Myss is a phenomenal medical intuitive. And when she discovered that she was a medical intuitive, she was in her car going for a drive. And this was, I don't even know, in this, I don't know, 70s, 80s? I'm not quite sure. It was before the internet. And she was in her car driving and she went, oh, well, that makes sense. And she didn't really, I don't know if she termed it medical intuitive, but she said, well, that's what I want to do then. That's my business. I want clients to come to me and I want to heal them through this medical intuition. And by the time she drove home, she had 3 calls on her answering machine for that. Clients wanting her advice and wanting her to be their healer doing medical intuition. They probably didn't say those words, but she didn't put out posters. She didn't phone anybody. She didn't put in the phone book or the newspaper or put out business cards. She made the decision. She claimed it. And if you know anything about Carolyn Myss, nobody, the universe included, would argue with this woman. When she claims something, that's that. That's it. And you may have had a similar experience in your life when you've claimed something and said, I'm having this. And this is manic manifesting. I've often gotten to the point where I need this, like the divorce and being sued by my husband, needing $6,000. I'm like, universe, I don't know where you're going to pull this out of, but I need $6,000 to come to me like now. And it did. So that's manic manifesting, and that is a worth thing. When we feel worthy of having whatever we want before we need it, then the manic manifesting will go away. University degrees for you, Jenny. Yeah. So claiming, deciding that you want it. And that can be to your advantage. You can use your theater of your mind, use that whiteboard, and the feeling of the things that you have absolutely no doubt. And it's so easy for you to claim that. So you can merge the university degrees, which would be 100% certainty on your whiteboard, with I am certain that I can attract 5K months through my business. And the certainty of your university degrees may be at 100%, and maybe the certainty of creating 5K months may be at 40 or 50. Grab that 40 or 50% and bring it up to align with the feeling of the university degree at 100. So you can merge those together. And you can do this with so many different things. Confidence. If you're confident in one thing and you want to be confident with another thing, bring that together. Worth of manifesting. Are you worthy of manifesting $20? That could be at 100%. Are you worthy of manifesting 5,000? Bring that together. Yeah. Yeah. So when we're pulling in relationships, we attract what we are, who we are, which is a beautiful thing. But this is when we want to be really in depth with the love of ourselves. So you can say, you can make a list. I love how bloody funny I think I am. And I love that I've pulled in this companion who thinks I'm just as funny. I accept myself for all the things I am and all the things that I'm not. Because I know I'm wonderful just as I am. And I've attracted that partner who feels the exact same way. So when you think about the things that you want, you acknowledge and you love and you respect and you support yourself and all your desires, and you'd want that in a partner as well. And when you focus on that and you see, Neville Goddard talks about when you go to bed at night, imagine that you're wearing a wedding band and you're playing with that wedding band as you're falling asleep, and you feel completely safe and loved and adored as you are loving and adoring that person in your life. Yeah. So there is that. So getting back to so that is called the kinesthetic manifesting style. Kinesthetic is the feeling, the touch. So when you are touching a wedding band on your finger, you're initiating that PMS, primary manifesting style of kinesthetic. You can feel it. So another I've talked about is visual. I'm a visual manifester.
Yeah.
And you can tune in and you can test your percentage. So you can create a chart to test with that will tell you what your PMS, your primary manifesting style is. So there's visual, kinesthetic, audio, written, and I call one future pacing. So I do have one somewhere, I don't know where it is, but this would be similar to the pendulum chart that you would create to get your primary manifesting style. But what I suggest you do is create a percentage.
Pendulum percentage chart. Okay.
Yep. And that way, because we're always a few different, you can be, I'm probably 90% visual manifester, and then maybe 75% audio. Now, kinesthetic is the feeling the wedding band on your hand. That's kinesthetic. You're acting it out, you're feeling it with your fingers. Future pacing is all of these. Future pacing is like a quantum jump. And quantum jump is when you're jumping into a different dimension, reality, universe, and you are connecting with an alternate self to get feedback, tips on how that alternate self achieved what you want to accomplish. She's already achieved that goal, or he's already achieved that goal. So you are checking in with your alternate self to say, hey, can you give me tips on how to go from A to Z? I'm here, you're there, how do I get there? What should I do next? But even if you don't get tips or feedback, being in the energy of the it's already done, it's accomplished, is super powerful. You're feeling the energy that your alternate self has of it's done. I've already celebrated it. Just like I talked about on day one, when you have a new car, that new car is exciting for the first, second, third, or fourth day. But after the second or third week, you're like, yeah, it's my car. So your alternate self has already celebrated that win, and you're there for the aftermath of this is just the new normal. 5K months are just the new normal.
So I could have a memory of going out with my friends at a specific restaurant to celebrate what hasn't happened yet, but that I am manifesting to have happen.
Absolutely.
And that becomes a memory in my
future memory. Yes.
Future memory that's actually a memory that I just made up now.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and Jack Canfield actually talks about this. He has 5-year parties. You show up at this party as yourself in 5 years. So you've won the Nobel Peace Prize, or you've hit the bestseller list 5 times, or you've already bought, renovated, maybe flipped and sold that dream house. Now you're onto a different dream house because that one was just, your first dream house. Right? 5-year party. So future pacing or future pacing connects all of these. You create a future memory, but you're actually jumping into it like a quantum jump. So you are hearing the sounds of being in your new kitchen, that beautiful moment when you're getting ready for bed and maybe the dishwasher's on, and the cat's maybe laying on the counter on top of the dishwasher because it's always warm there. And outside you can see maybe solar lights, and maybe there's a fountain. And just that moment of peace in that darkness of your space. This is your space, your kitchen. There's nobody around, and that hum of the dishwasher, and maybe it's spring, the lilacs are blooming, the window's open, you can feel that breeze come across your skin and touch your hair a little bit. You can smell the lilacs in the air. You can feel the cat. We're all cat people, so that's an easy one. Brushes up against your leg and meows to say, come on, let's go, Mom, it's bedtime. If you don't make it to your pillow before I do, dibs. So you're bringing in audio, kinesthetic, visual, the scent. Maybe you take a sip of water before bed. You can taste the cool, fresh, clean water. So you implant as many senses as you can in this future pacing. It's very, very, very powerful. You can implement written, so maybe you're imagining you have a journal on the kitchen counter, And you write down 3 things that you're grateful for that happened that day. My client just made her first 10K month. My client just got married to the most amazing person. I just received an image from my niece that she just bought her dream car, right? So writing these things down in the journal, in this vision that you're future pacing in your dream home, right? So future pacing is super powerful. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And you're feeding energy into that desire, that reality. Because really, what you desire desires you. And there, with all of the different realities and dimensions available, we're choosing, with every choice that we make, we're choosing that reality. We're stepping into that. And whenever, and I had to, with my clients, it's really a choice. It's really, really a choice. And if we don't feel like we can create or make that choice, then check in with those keys, because it's one of the keys that's getting in the way of us choosing that. If we don't feel we can have, do, or be, choose what we want, it's one of those keys. Whenever we're dissatisfied, that's really important. It's important to check in with our emotions. Our emotions are our feedback. Our emotions are feedback. So when we're sad, when we're angry, when we're dissatisfied, anger, by the way, may not be yours. Check in that you release that. But whenever these lower emotions come up, we say, thank you. Because that's telling us that there's something else available that we're not choosing. So when we're dissatisfied, we want to write those dissatisfactions down and then flip it so that we know what will make us satisfied. We'll create, is a better word. We'll create that satisfaction. And then whenever our mind goes to the dissatisfaction, we just gently go, no, 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 I'm not going that way. I'm going this way. That is what I want. And even if it's 2 or 3 minutes every morning and every night to check in and replay this using your primary manifesting style, and check in with, if it's a boat, if it's a client you want, check in with which manifesting style would be best to use to create that specific desire. But every morning for 2 or 3 minutes, every night for 2 or 3 minutes, checking in and creating this anchor statement or anchor vision and looping it for 2 to 3 minutes to feed that energy. Because it's whatever we feed energy to is what creates. So if we're feeding energy to dissatisfaction, we want to siphon that off and start feeding energy to what we want to decide, what we want to create, what we desire. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions? It seems really simple. And it's a lot sometimes to ask you to believe that it's this simple. But when we believe it's this simple, that we can have, do, or be, or create what we want, then it is.
I'm going to be having a lot of 5-year parties. I think I'm going to celebrate everything I want.
Yes.
And the idea that you loop it and keep it in your mind, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is, and just walk away like that. Yeah, that didn't make sense to me. So this does.
Right.
Thank you.
Yay. I'm glad. You're very welcome. Yeah. And I think that for a while I was really struggling because I'm like, okay, universe, I healed my burn, but I can't manifest as quickly as that. Like this is physical, and physical is at the bottom of the matter chain, the vibration. It's slow. So I shouldn't be able to heal a burn within a few hours. Even last night, I went for a walk. I took Miller for a walk, and I was wearing socks with shoes. And the shoes I love, I ordered them online. They're Vans. They're really cool. I love the shoes, but I ordered them a little bit too small. So when I forgot, I wore socks, and I was getting, by the time I went for like a 25-minute walk, and by the time I was halfway done, I'm in pain. I could feel a blister forming on my heel. And so instead of feeling the blister at the very back of my heel, I intended and set my focus to this skin over here, overlapping this. And it still hurt like, you know what? But by the time I got home and I took off my sock and my shoe and I thought, this is going to be open, it's going to be bleeding, it's going to be nasty. It was nothing. There's nothing there. So for the longest time, I was saying to the universe, this is awesome that we can heal. I'm not the only one. We can heal our body instantaneously. We get to choose. So, hey, tell me how I do that from my car or my house or my boat or my trip around the world, right? How am I healing physically, instantly, but I'm not creating my boat? And it's never an asking problem, it's always a receiving problem. What are you willing to receive? And we weren't doing I want this. When I heal my body and there's an actual injury right here, I don't focus on the injury, and that's what we do. We focus on where's my $2,000? Where's my $2,000? Where's my $2,000? Where is it? Where's my $2,000? Where is it? So instead of focusing on the pain of the migraine, of the headache, of the burn, of the ailment, of the dissatisfaction of the not having enough, or not being enough, instead of focusing on that, we focus on what we want. And when I do this healing for 20 seconds, I'm like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that for 20 seconds. And then I leave it for a couple minutes, and then I do that again. I want that, I want that, I want that. So if we do the same thing for manifesting what we desire, we will call it in. And it doesn't matter if you're frustrated, it doesn't matter if you're angry. When I was, just not even a year ago, my heat was shut off and I was carrying boiling water up the stairs. And in that state of sadness and despair and depression, I manifested change. And it's just shifting your focus. The brain is the Neanderthal reptilian brain of, I have to keep you safe. So, hey, remember, there could be a saber-toothed tiger, and that's what the brain will always do. But we just have to go, no, we're okay. We're going this way. Just shifting your focus. And I ask you guys, please, 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 tell me what this creates. Please come back and share your wins. And when you are ready for the Biz Elite or my healing program, you know where I am. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I want you guys to be master manifestors. You already are. You already are, right? You're a limitless being. So it's just the stuff in the way that we took on from all the other people trying to keep us safe that we just need to let go of and come back home. Come back home to, I am a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire. Yay. Aww. I feel this class has already created more hope for me. Thank you. Love and light to you both. Thank you, Jenny. Love and light to you guys. I'm so grateful that you were here for me to share this information with, and I want you to manifest absolutely your heart's desire and then some. That is my desire for you. Much love. Thank you, Mary. Yay! I'm glad you've already implemented and used what you've learned here, and I can't wait for you guys to tell me what you've created with this. Have a fabulous day. Go create, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.